Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and we're back again. Susan's joining me as usual, and we've got an old face from a long, long time ago. Ramona's back with us.
Hello.
How we
Welcome
doing?
back.
Thank you for having me.
That's okay. Anytime, anytime. It's been a while, so we'll ease you in gently with this with this 1983 animated movie, Rotoscoping. Filmed by Bashki, Fire and Ice. Um, and it's a sword and sorcery movie. Not much dialogue, so we'll go to Susan first with our opening thoughts on Fire and Ice, and then we'll move over to Ramona after that. So, Susan, over to you.
All right. Well, Fire and Ice is the first time I've seen it. But I do believe that when you introduced this, you had stated that Ralph Bakshi or whatever, he was the one who created the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings animation
Yeah,
back in the 70s, 80s.
yeah,
And since that, that comes to be, you know he, he's got a real particular kind of artistic style in his use of both line and color, and and his and the story details that were. This one is very based on like the idea that kings happen to be magic to their
mm,
kingdoms, and and the interesting beginning point of this was that one king was actually able to overtake another kingdom merely by sort of uh what's the word I'm looking for, uh momentizing, no, the the word I'm looking for has to do with the way that the wall would move forward and
mhm, yeah,
uh and sort of conquer land merely by the presence of the ice crystals. That was so interesting. And the ice crystals looked more like, and we just watched the Superman movie together last week and reviewed it last week. The ice crystals remind me of very much of the Kryptonian palace style
hmm
as it moves forward. And it was sort of conquering land by glacial, almost glacial movement. It just was amazing.
yeah. It was like forcing people further and further down.
Right, the wall would move, the wall
Yeah,
of ice,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I thought that that was, and the Fire Kingdom, you know, as he's encroaching on the Fire Kingdom, the King of the Ice. The interesting thing was that I didn't see any fire. It isn't until the end of the movie that you actually see the what the Kingdom of Fire is named for. Anyway, it was so interesting, and it was so, and the soundtrack was very similar uh, to other fantasy films and stories of that time,
Yeah.
and I liked it. It was there were some issues, but we'll get to that on the second go round. So
There's always issues.
back over to you, Lee.
Thank you, Susan. Right, we'll go over now to Ramona. What's your take on it then?
My take on it is every king, ruler, emperor, empress, what is it that they want? A comfy chair, beautiful sunset, a lovely woman at their side. This poor prince had nothing but very evil mother. And she had control of him and his emotions and used his energy, his emotions to power the ice field, the ice as it was growing. The more angrier this prince got, the more the ice grew. For every time the prince got angry, the more the ice grew. And what I see in this film is, if you're familiar with the Conan movies, with Kroll, with those adventure type movies, this cartoon, it's not for young children, is very much in that vein.
Mm.
And if you are a Dungeons and Dragons fan, fantasy fan, straight up, you're going to love this. Don't take your girlfriend to this. She's not going to enjoy it. Don't take your mate to this unless they're a gamer with you. The artwork was very good. The artwork, what I saw was just on the cusp, the dawn of Japanimation, where American artists were being phased out for Asian-based artwork, where they can turn out 1,000 pages or so in a day and CAG the rest. If you've seen Thundar the Barbarian or those old cartoons, what was the other one? Zach, Jaina, Gloop. The artwork is in that very style.
Yeah.
The music, as Susan said, was of the fantasy type. I almost recognized some of the music. This music is before it turned into Marvel Comics music, and it turned into a power blast where you didn't know whether to listen to the note or look for the punch. As far as the storyline, I kind of like the storyline. Some parts I didn't. One scene I did like is where the proto-human, or the dog, so to speak, he was going through the spoils of war, and he picked up a shield, and he looked at it, thumped it, and he threw it back down. He says, what? And I could hear him saying this in his mind, because there was a little dialogue, but in his mind, I could almost hear him say, what good is your shield if it didn't protect you? It ain't going to protect me.
That's funny. That's great.
And the costumes, the costumes were minimalist, especially for the females.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like I said, you're not going to want to take your date to this unless she's a gamer. Good story. Fire did finally show up at the end. And I kind of enjoyed it once I got into it. It was a little rough at the start, but once I got into it, I was like, yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that, Ramona. We'll get back to finer details in a bit. As for me, I've never seen this one before, which is surprising. Yeah, I don't mind a bit of sword and sorcery, fantasy films now and again. Um, and this one is different because it's rotoscoping, um, which is quite expensive way to make a movie these days. You film all the live action, then you have all the animators draw all over the live action film. So you don't often get rotoscoping these days. It was so the movement in the animation could look real. Um,
Yeah.
Disney used it many years ago, like through Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Cinderella and stuff like that. And it's been used in like Tron, Star Wars, even with the lightsaber, rotoscoping that. But and the latest one, what me and Susan watched, was it last year? Is it a Scanner Darkly?
Yeah.
That was rotoscoped. I didn't mind that because it adds so it gives a bit of there's an element there in the rotoscoping what makes it more enjoyable. Um,
Yeah.
as for the story, well, it's a simple story of good versus evil, as all these type of movies are. Um, but the story wasn't one where you could get lost, get confused or anything like that. It was the princess was on the run. She get caught. She got free. She got caught. She got free. She was doing a lot of that. You had two heroes. You had the young hero who might I say didn't have much clothes either. So you could maybe take your girlfriend to see it, or your boyfriend. Also, you also had the other hero. I think was his name Dark Wolf, the one with the wolf's head. Um, and as it's mentioned, it was in the vein of like Conan and things like Beastmaster and in that
Yeah.
sort of vein. Um, yeah, when was it King Necros, the evil Ice
Ne-
King?
yeah.
You
Necron.
Necron using his powers. I never thought he was. You see, he was pointed out that he was more. He got angry. I thought he was in pain. So I don't know if that came across in the animation, but every time he was using his powers, I thought he was in pain, but it could be anger. So it's just the way it was animated. I just thought he was looked like he was in
The
pain.
use of that energy has a price, and
Yeah,
so the price would be pain.
yeah, because you say the way it was, his fists were
Yeah,
clenched, and so it could be anger. It could be well, maybe it could be a mixture of it, but it was really well done. There isn't much dialogue in this. There's certain things when there's a little bit of conversation here and a little conversation there. Um, the makers did have a bit of a fetishism about booty uh, and breasts. Um, so it did pan and stay on the princess for quite a while in certain scenes. Um, so I don't know what the real actress thought of that when it was being filmed. I don't know because was they dressed like that when they filmed the live action? Um, but all in all, it's an enjoyable movie. You didn't have to have a high IQ to understand it. It's take your brain out, leave that at the door, put your feet up and watch. But yeah, it's a first one for me. I enjoyed it. I mean, I saw his Lord of the Rings from was it 78, 79, what he did,
yeah.
and it's in the same sort of vein as that animation. Um, yeah, it was all right. It was an enjoyable watch. So who shall we go to with niggles or favourite moments and anything you want? Should we go to Ramona first? Let's go there. Let's go there.
Favorite moments. Avenge me! That one.
Yeah.
The young lady, she's a sorceress herself. I thought she was body shopping for a moment. Because I figured she was looking beautiful, but that was probably wearing thin, maybe 100, 200 years old or whatever. And there's a nice young lady showing up at her door there, and I think I can do a body swap. She gets the old me, and I get to regenerate, so to speak. So I'm watching, and I'm like, she dies? No! So they could have done something with that, but nope. They just wanted to keep the story one direction, one angle, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, anything else, or shall we go to Susan?
Go to Susan.
Let's go to Susan. It's
all right. I was gonna say that there's like a little, just casual sexism until we got to the point of like the one of the sort of uglies relieving himself, and then you could see like that he was all, I mean, you were just, it was suddenly like, oh, they're not going to worry about anything at this point. That was quite a good sort of, oh, equal dose. And the other thing that was really it's really interesting is that these wizards that were fighting these kings with supernatural powers.
yeah.
As they were fighting through this sort of you brought your wall of ice like the White Wall in Game of Thrones, and you have all these sort of grotesque creatures like the Game of Thrones. I will. The other king was like, "I'll release the dragons," but the dragons weren't the ones that breathe fire. It was actually.
The dragon hawks were kind of disappointing. They were just there for transportation. That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't the original title of Game of Thrones Song of Fire and Ice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
So, and that was the name of the first book, was Fire and Ice, the story of Fire and Ice or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, this could have been like a really big sort of influence on that J.R. Martin story. The other thing that was really interesting was that the volcanism at the end was uncontrolled volcanism, whereas the ice was very much sort of doing the marching bit, taking more and more territory. Yeah. But like keeping things like organized, but the volcanism, that magma, that lava didn't have any boundaries. And so that was really interesting. And I was just looking through what Lakshmi had done. He created a couple of TV shows in the 60s Rocket Robin Hood and Mighty Heroes,
Oh, I remember Rocket Robin Hood, yeah.
and Deputy Dog and Glad Mouse the Apprentice.
Bippity
I
dog.
remember Deputy Dog.
Yeah.
You boys better keep out of my melon patch.
Yeah, and then there's then he did Mouse Trek, which I think may have been related to Star Trek because it came out the next year. And then there was Spider-Man, and he was the director of many of the Spider-Man, Fritz the Cat, and then
the famous Fritz the Cat, yes.
yeah. So I mean, some very risque stuff and some straight up normal superhero stuff. Lots of good animation though.
Mm.
And so I was just thinking that, they, the maybe the issues were just of the time. It was very much of its time. Let's just say it that way.
Well, most
The heroes are all white guys, except for the ultimate enemy was a white guy.
oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. So like, but that's part of this thing too. And so whereas I'm trying to read into it all of these psychosocial sociological things, perhaps I'm just being way overzealous in my look. And but the I was liking the things that I liked are the are when they go into the water, the other creatures couldn't really swim, so those two had an escape valve. Always just go in the water. And
Yeah.
that was really interesting how they wrote that out, and you kind of have that to figure out. Anyway, I that's really all I've got. And what about you? What you like and what you didn't like?
Well, you said mentioned reading into things.
Yeah,
I read into things of sexual attraction. King Necron. He
yeah,
pu- he pushed away Princess Tigra. He didn't want to mate with her. He didn't want anything to do with her. But
right,
as soon as Lorne turned up, he
yeah,
intrigued him, and he
yeah,
disrobed, and there he was in his loincloth. And
exactly.
I think he was sort of quite attracted to him.
Well, of course. I mean that makes a lot of sense. Good guess or good grab, whatever.
Well, it's the sort of thing what happens to me every weekend.
Mhm.
I wish. But yeah, it's a very the storyline is very generic.
Yeah,
There's nothing. There's well, I mean, this was 1983, so this was roughly when we did have Conan. I think Conan was 82, wasn't it, with Schwarzenegger, and Beastmaster was 82. So this sword and sorcery thing was the in thing in the movies. We also had
Do you want to live forever?
yeah. We
It's a
also
good
had,
day today.
yeah. We also had Hawk the Slayer in 81 and all. It seemed to be the early 80s was sword and sorcery, and
yep,
it's sort of faded out now. They don't really make them now, which it's a shame.
yeah,
Everybody likes a bit of escapism and a bit of you know sexual attraction to strange and ice kings, and
yeah,
but I did when I was watching it. I kept thinking about you. Do you remember the Filmation TV series He-Man?
yeah,
Yes.
This was
Oh
roughly
my God.
this was roughly about the same time that was being broadcast on the TV. And it was the same sort of. I know the film was rotoscoping, but the way the movement, the acting, and the voice acting, I thought, oh, it's like Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
And so you had the blonde character in his loincloth. I thought, oh yeah, that's Prince Adam and Tigra. Wasn't there someone in He-Man called Tigra or something? I can't remember. Or Tila or something. Tila, yeah.
Tila.
So to nick a little bit here, nick a little bit there. Put it in, mix the pot. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good against evil, and good always wins. And I don't like that. Sometimes I always side with the bad guys. You know, let the bad guys win sometimes. Like Empire Strikes Back. You know, but it's light always conquers darkness, I suppose.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually, it sometimes takes a while, but it eventually gets there. So, anything else before we go to final say and score?
I did like the subtitles. I watched it on YouTube, and the subtitles were like undecipherable, or what was the word that they used for every time that those guys spoke? Unaudible or something.
Unintelligible.
Unintelligible. That's right. It was so funny.
Did you know those characters? What do you call them? They're
the dogs.
The dogs, the minions, or whatever. They were a good concept.
Yeah,
they really worked well, and it's sort of each, well, maybe 4 or 5 of them had their own sort of character.
Yeah,
and you sort of felt for them when they got to had a sticky end, and
yeah.
As you said, one was urinating and all that. And when he sat back down again, he was putting his thing away under his loincloth as he sat down. I thought, a bit of comedic. Put your private part away. Several of them had a bit of character, and that's with animation.
That's something that's rare in cartoons, is showing them eating or showing them doing a humanoid behavior, other than just fighting.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, you look at Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. They're very generic, aren't they? The what do you call them?
Orcs.
Yeah, you don't really get to know them.
No.
And you can think of it. Who's making the weapons? Who's making the armor?
Yeah.
Right.
Who's making the leather for the loincloths?
Right. And these ones just I mean, there was the one who was like who was like sort of distracted, and the one that kept falling down. Yeah, I mean, there was just like they each had their own individual personality. That's very interesting. True.
It was, yeah. You don't often get that.
Right.
What surprised me was they weren't fighting over the wine. It was just the one guy had the flask of wine. He enjoyed it, and that was it.
Right.
I was waiting for them to all gang up on him and basically try to tear him up and tear the wine up, have a little party with the girl, and whoa. But they didn't.
One guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so they kept it surprisingly kosher.
Yeah. Just like our Pete Hegseth. He's the only one who's drinking to excess in the Pentagon right now. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I was just looking on IMDb, and they called them subhumans, but they each had their own personality. That's ridiculous.
I know it was mentioned earlier as well that this wasn't really for children. Yeah, you can see why. Especially there's a scene in it what nobody's mentioned yet is the scene where Tigra's rescued by this creature and taken to a tent where there's a witch.
Right.
That's the one that avenge me
Yeah,
part.
the avenge me part, but the part where she's killed, and then all of a sudden from the ashes, this just skeletal remains come out. It's just talking to Lorne like a normal person.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have, if you was an 8-year-old kid, that would have scared you shitless.
No kidding. Yeah. Precisely. That's why Geek Assemble has to be 18 or over.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't remember. Was it a PG-13 or whatever it was in this country? I can't remember. But yeah, you get the avenge me at the end, but it's the build up to that.
Yeah.
You're thinking, wow, is this the soul is still in that body, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it collapses, and it's not for kids.
What other cartoons came out in like 1983, 1984? They were cartoons, but they were not for children.
Yeah.
Biggest one was Watership Down.
Well, that was I think 79. That, but you're right. That was when I first saw that. I was very taken. I was quite shocked.
Gobsmacked.
Yeah. Oh, I think I was about 9 or 10 when I first saw that. I was in tears. When bright eyes. When the rabbit dies and there's fighting and there's blood everywhere, and
yeah.
But you see, back then,
then there was there's tons of adult anime in Japan and Korea and even an occasional Chinese offering, but the
Japanese and that lot, they don't hold back with their anime and the manga and all that, do they?
When did Studio Ghibli get started?
I don't know, but anime was never aimed at kids.
No.
And but if this came out in 83, but when did Excalibur come out? Like 79, 80?
What, the movie?
The movie?
81, I think it was.
Yeah, so I mean this was in the one of the high times of swords and sorcery and stuff elevating into like movies and TV shows and stuff. And I just think that there were Bakshi was really was like kind of at in a very right time, and but this was very much of its time too.
Oh yeah.
Witch, the Lion, and the Wardrobe too. That came out around it.
Yeah. Studio Ghibli was 1985.
Okay.
Oh, just a little after.
Yeah, it was founded in 85, June the 15th. There you go. It's good. It's good. This little thing here, what I've got down here.
Oh yeah.
But anything else before we go to final say and score? No. Right then, Susan.
I will give this 8. I'll give this 8 ice crystal walls out of 10. I thought that this was really interesting. I thought, I think that probably you guys are right that this did really inspire the Game of Thrones. I think that was probably one of the most well, the fact that it was a simple story and that it was a really kind of sort of look into the the sorcerer's sort of rules. It was great, and I enjoyed watching it. This was my first time watching this. I've having looked at I've looked at I've seen a bunch of the Bakshi stuff other than this one, so it's just really cool that I've seen this now too. And yeah, I and I'm really glad that Ramona has joined us for this podcast. I'm really glad to have her here for our podcast. So yeah, back over to you, Lee.
Thank you. Totally agree with everything Susan says there. So we'll go over to Ramona. What would you give this out of 10?
This one was a bit more complex than just putting a number on at the first note. I started watching it. I was a little distracted. I had several irons in the fire, so my mind immediately flashed to Conan and related films. I said, it's starting out as a 3, but I kept watching it because I was doing some artwork at the same time. And I'm like, this is getting real. This is getting good. Went up to a 5.5, then 7, and stayed around at 8.5 to 9.
Oh.
It wasn't one of the greatest ones, but it's decent for its artwork, story, and the fact that they did keep it kosher. Even if it was an adult type cartoon, they did keep it kosher. People got hurt, but you didn't see that much blood.
Yeah. Oh, now you mention it. Yeah. Yeah, you're right there. So, right. And it's the first time you've seen this as well?
Yes.
Oh, wait. Well, all 3 of us are Fire and Ice virgins then.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Ramona. Right. What shall I give it? Well, I agree with everything Susan and Ramona have said about this. It sort of gradually grabbed me as it went along. I think it started a little bit slow, a bit generic, and then it started to involve me a bit more. Then I got a bit more intrigued. It's a simple story, but it's enjoyable. Of its time, it's been said. I've always been interested in rotoscoping. It's just the way they do it really interests me. All the time and effort they put into these things. So for me, I'm going to give this 8.5 leather thongs out of 10. Did I say thongs? I meant to say loincloths. I've got things on my mind, I think.
We'll not discuss the roll of quarters or the smuggled budgies.
But yeah, so that's our little review of Fire and Ice. I would like to thank Ramona for coming back and sitting down and discussing this movie. It's been a good few years since she appeared on one of our casts, and it's good to see her. Susan, as always, she's a stalwart. She's always here. Come rain or shine,
Things I love these things that we get to watch and talk about together. That's just
yeah, I do. It keeps us off the streets, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all I need to do now is say to people out there who's watching this, please, if you've seen this movie, leave a comment below on this video. Let us know what you thought of this movie. Or any of our other videos, what you come across, leave a comment. Let us know. And if you'd like to join us, leave a comment on the videos. We'll get back to you, but you have to be 18 and over because some things we watch and review are 18 rated. So we just like to play safe with the age on that. Also, when you do join us, make sure you've got a working camera and a microphone on the device you use. And also, what have I forgot? Oh, yeah, the YouTube channel. It does need you to press the bell notification button. Every time we put the video, you'll get notified.
So good.
Yeah, just tell so you don't miss any of our videos. I mean, we've got over 1,000, 1,100 videos now, or something like that. Just we'd like to have some new faces. As I say, Ramona's come back to the ship, so hopefully we will see Ramona again on some other stuff.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to say good night now, and we'll talk later.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And so until next time, guys, please be safe out there. Enjoy what we put out there, and also suggest some stuff to us, and we'll see what we can do. So until next time, bye for now.